Good morning, everybody. I got Mark here with me today. Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing, my friend?
Like I said, I'm a blessed man. I'm a lucky guy. I had a great weekend. Been looking forward to talking to you because I think what you do is extremely cool, man. So on that note, let everybody know what you do and how long have you been working on just lifting those rocks and doing all the strongman stuff?
Well, I've been an amateur strongman for about a year now. Um, I was big into the gym back in high school, um, and I kind of got away from it when I had kids. I had kids young. I had my first child when I turned 21, and from there, you know how it goes. You start working more. You go from being a young kid working 40 hours a week. Now you're working 60 hours a week, and you kind of lose time for stuff like that. Um, and then I told myself once I bought my first house that I'd make a gym in the house. And yeah, man, that's kind of how it started going, you know. And I've just been kind of going steady for a year, and I've been getting strong, and I'm getting ready for my first competition, April 22nd.
Well, congratulations. That's super cool. Yeah, Mark, I'm not going to lie to you. I think all of us have that same nothing's worse 21, man. You're 21 and you're like, okay, it's time to man up. I want to do my thing. But
Hmm.
I got a kid. There's no shirking your responsibility. You have to get a job. And before you know it, like you said, you're doing 60 hours a week because 40 hours is never enough. It never
No, it's
seems to be
not.
enough. And you push all your dreams aside, and a couple years go by, and then sometimes it can eat away at you. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm doing what I do now. I don't want to regret not trying something.
Right? Yeah.
Not that being said, the discipline it takes to exercise in general is a daunting task. To do it for such a purpose is even more of a cool endeavor, man. So, what made you want to chase the passion? I'm a firm believer that you don't find your passion finds you. What caused you to chase that passion of
I
lifting?
think you are 100% correct on something like that. Well, I started working a job a couple of years ago, probably about close to 5 years now. And the guy I had started working with, um, or for, I should say, I'm one of those kids I grew up without parents. Didn't really have a father figure around. I'm still young. I'm only 28 years old. So, like, my old boss was a Highland Games champion. And I hadn't thought about weightlifting in years. I mean, I was big into it, sophomore through my senior year of high school. But it kind of drifted, and he started talking to me about strongman and showing me all these old clips of him, at the Highland Games, and just I just fell in love with it, man. I mean, the conversations we'd have about it. Once I started working out and I got my hands on my first Atlas stone, I mean, it was over from there. I mean, I don't know if it's the Scottish blood and the Icelandic blood running through my veins, but there's something about picking up a heavy rock that the people at work can make fun of me as much as they want, but they ain't picking up no fucking rocks, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Anybody that sees you put that over your shoulder and still wants to talk shit, they lost their minds.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I'm throwing rocks over my head that are heavier than most of these people I work with, and it translates over. I mean, I have a pretty physically daunting job, especially some days more than others, and just the fact that I can execute my job a little bit faster and just get it done a little quicker than everyone else because physically I'm just in better shape. You know. And it's just you feel great, man. I mean, you feel like shit after you work out for a couple hours, but when you wake up in the morning, I do therapy in the morning. I wake up, I hop in cold water for 2 minutes in the morning, and I don't know, you get this euphoric feeling, where I don't want to say it's like a cockiness, but you go through the day and stuff isn't as hard as when you're training. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
big
I'll be
part.
honest with you, man. I love it. I absolutely, Mark. I did the ice bath one time. Didn't realize how valuable it is. They say if you go jump out of that water and go work out immediately, it boosts your testosterone on top of all the
Hmm.
other health benefits. And I
Oh
didn't even
yeah.
realize that, man. I got to do it again. I got to do it again because I agree with you 100%. Nothing makes everything easier than crushing it for like an hour or two because there's something
Hmm.
about that front loaded, what would you call it? No pain, no gain kind of scenario where I'm going to give up a little bit of my comfort and I'm going to lose a little comfort for an hour or two for that greater
Hmm.
gain. And I think that changes your mindset. I think it changes the way you carry yourself. You accidentally start acting like you're. I've noticed that people look down at you. They'll actually try to like pick you apart because now you cast such a shadow over somebody that they want to make sure they knock you down so they have an excuse for why they're not doing a little bit more. Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to be able to pick up an Atlas stone because I probably cannot. But nonetheless, I do run as much as I can. I do go to the gym as much as I can. And it makes a difference, man. It makes all the difference in the world. Mind, body, the whole thing, man. And they're more connected than we realize. You can't better your mind without bettering your body. You can't better your body without bettering your mind. They go in tandem together, like parallel
Oh,
tracks.
100%. 100%. Yeah. No, and I like doing that ice bath in the morning. I just recently started doing those over the course of the last 2 weeks. But starting your day with something hard like that, I mean, my wife kind of makes fun of me. I don't like going in the cold water. Oh, you like the cold. There's nothing about that I like. When I wake up in the morning for a half hour before I hop in that water, I am, especially when you go out there. I live in New England, and there's some mornings still there's ice on top of that water. When I got to break that ice before I go in there, it's really mentally daunting. I mean, and you get in there when you get out, it's what else could challenge you throughout the day? You know, you got a shitty day at work, but it's like I just sat in 32-degree water for 2 to 3 minutes. I mean, if I can do that, I think I can do just about anything. You
And
know?
that's a long 3 minutes. If you've never done it before,
Oh yeah.
it's a way longer. And I had myself like a cheerleading team. I had all six of my kids watching me in the bathtub. Dad, why are you
Yep.
doing this? Dad, why are you doing this? And they just like your wife made fun. They're like, oh, you like. No one likes going for a 3 mile run at 7 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. No one likes
No,
waking up at 4 o'clock.
nobody
No one.
enjoys it.
No, but I like the end result,
Hmm.
and it's worth all the sacrifice because you're going to pay forward one way or another. Either you're going to pay
No,
now or you're
hundred
going to pay
percent.
later and be fat and lazy later and be on all kinds of pills and breathing heavy with an apparatus around your chest. One way or another, you're going to pay. So either you pay now in your 20s and work hard because I don't think people realize this. Your mind peaks, your ability with your mind peaks at around 25, 28, and it's a lateral move down the rest of your life. Now, you gain experience and knowledge as you age, but your ability
Hmm.
to comprehensively learn more, your capacity to grow in your mind peaks at around that age. So, the only solution, there's no mind games you can play on your phone, there's no mind games you can play on puzzles. It's blood flow. Exercise and running is the only thing that staves that off so that the climb doesn't go like this. It just slowly declines as you get older.
Yep.
And
Yep. I 100% agree with you.
you pay one way or another, man. Pay now or pay later.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not active throughout life, there's a chance that when you hit that 50-year-old mark, that's when you're not going to be active. I mean, I know a lot of older people. I mean, my grandfather, he's been crippled since he was 50. He was a truck driver. He never moved. You
Never
know,
moved,
he
man.
went and he was picking up dumpsters and dumping dumpsters. And I remember watching him work on cars when he was in his 50s. And he's making noises, getting up off the ground, asking me to give him his hand. And then, like my old boss, I was working with him. He was 53 years old. He was the biggest animal I've ever met in my life. I mean, 1 a.m. to 5 p.m., like it was nothing every day, hammering, no complaints, not a pain in his body. I mean, movement is key. If you don't stay moving, you're going to die young. I mean, it's just a
Yeah,
fact,
because
you
the
know?
way the way things are playing out, if you don't get into any heavy drugs and you don't eat too much fast food, we're looking at easily 100 years old.
No, 100%, especially now. I mean, my generation could live to see longer. I mean,
Well, they're
the
saying
weird
it's going to
stuff.
peak. I agree with you, but they're
Yeah,
saying it's going to peak because there's too much drug use and there's too much fast food.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you're looking
yeah,
at your grandfather's generation that lived on a farm with all the medicine we have now.
yeah.
Whereas you guys are going to have all the medicine, but fast food and drugs. You're shaving off,
Hey,
and not only that, very lazy. We got a very lazy population. You are the
oh
exception to
yes.
the rule. You are not the norm. Because even the guys you work with, I bet you half of them are lazy.
Oh, you know how it is. They go home and they crack a beer, or some of them might go home and clean their yard or something. But you're talking about guys that have been at the same company, most of them for 20, 30 years, and they're smoking a pack or two of cigarettes a day, and they're content with their lives. And I mean, they go on. I mean, not that my job isn't a terrible career. I mean, if you're somebody who wants to work in the same place the rest of your life, you could make a good career with what I do. But yeah, man, I don't know. People get so stuck and they get so used to routine and comfortable in that situation. It's like, oh, maybe I'll start that tomorrow, tomorrow. And I catch myself doing that. I mean, there's times where I'll get home and, me and my spouse, we work off opposite shifts because of the kids. And there are times where, she sleeps as soon as I get home and then she leaves and she goes to work. I don't want to go start working out in case she doesn't work out and I wake up and I have to go wake her up. Then 8 o'clock comes around and you're like, well, do I have to work out tonight? I got to be up at 3:30 in the morning. And it's like, you got to really force yourself into those situations. I mean, if you're not becoming comfortable when you're uncomfortable, then your whole life is going to be uncomfortable. You can't let your whole life be a shadow of your job or let anything besides yourself dictate what's going to happen in life. I mean, you're the only person that can push yourself to be great.
Yeah, Mark, I agree, man. And I'll be honest with you, if you don't chase that passion because you say, I think today I'm just going to sit and watch TV and drink a beer or go hang out with the
Hmm.
neighbor and drink
Hmm.
4 beers. And I'm not condoning or condemning the fact that it's fun to socialize, it's fun to have a couple beers. That's not my point. The point is, you blink your eyes and 40 years is over, and this is an all in game. It's not like
Hmm.
we get a redo. There's not a second chance at this. If you've got a passion, that passion is yours now for a reason, and that's all you got. And you know what? I was thinking about it, Mark. I've said this a couple times, and I think I got to do a whole thing on my other channel on this. I think the solution to why everybody gets too comfortable and gives up on everything and just does their 9 to 5 is we used to have these Great Depressions where everything was like a great reset.
Hmm. Hmm.
Everybody had to struggle a little bit. No one died. I don't remember hearing stories of people standing in the bread lines just dying, dropping dead. It was a little humbling and a little humiliating, but everybody made it through alive. And I think that struggle of having to go through and say, oh shit, maybe I should unstraighten those nails. Maybe I should save some water. Maybe I should pay cash for my car. Maybe I should do a couple extra things besides my 9 to 5 job when things get a little bit better because this might happen again. Was like a great reset for every generation. It was like a test to see if the temperature was still on, if you still had a fire under your ass.
Hmm.
And we lost that. When we got rid of the depressions, we lost that. And it's been comfortable for a long time. And it's not easy to make yourself uncomfortable.
No, no, it's not. And I mean, now is a harder time than anything. I mean, it's so easy to be lazy. I mean, it's funny because you were in a time where people my age and mostly the generation, a couple of years younger than me, um, everything's given to them. And I mean, you can go out and get a job anywhere now. No one is not working because they can't find work. I mean, I get contacted constantly by people, 10 times a year. Hey, do you want to come work with us? Oh, you interested in switching career paths? I mean, it's I don't understand what it is or what happened one day. Maybe it's like you said, the lack of depressions. I don't know. But nobody wants to do anything anymore. I mean, everyone wants to sit around, and you see these people on social media who justify it. I see, the TikToks, you see the motivational speeches that people put up, and I watched one day, and this lady was saying how this generation's work ethic is atrocious, and all the comments were, well, no, the work is, we're not, it's not atrocious. we just know there's more to life than working a 9 to 5. It's like, well, I agree with you. There is more to life than working a 9 to 5. But who's paying for you? I mean, who pays for you to live this life outside of a 9 to 5 or a 6 to 12 or a 6 to 2, whatever you're doing? You got to make money to support yourself. I mean, one way or another. And it's just, I don't know if the generation a couple years before me, they made enough money that their kids can stay home forever. I know my kids ain't staying home forever because I can't afford that. So it's a strange time we live in. I mean, nobody wants to go out and chase what they want. They just think it's going to come to them. And that's not how the world works, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think the 9 to 5 is real important. See, you have to be the fool before you can be the master, right?
No,
And
100%.
and I agree 100%. There's more to life, like you were saying. They say I don't want to do my 9 to 5 because there's more to life than. But what they don't realize is you got to get the 9 to 5 right first before you can pursue that extra or find that extra and have it work. Because you can't get all the big things in order if you don't have the little things in order. You know,
No, 100%.
and it's real easy to do a 9 to 5 job. So I don't. I think it's that dopamine chase that everybody's getting now, and I think they just want that instant gratification. I just want to scratch ticket and become the millionaire, and that's the be done
Right.
with it. And they don't realize that money's going to come through their fingers and fall through their hands like water. You try to hold water, it's like a joke. It's just gone. And if you don't have the character to hold on to that money will just disappear so quick. And that's
Yeah.
assuming you could even obtain it. If you can't do a
Right,
9 to 5 job, the odds are you won't even be able to obtain it.
No, no. I mean, if you don't have some sort of, I mean, if you can't hold a 9 to 5 or whatever your shift is, 7 to 3, if you can't, even if it's for a couple years till you find your calling, that's discipline. I mean, if you can't work a 40-hour week, how are you going to chase your dreams if you can't discipline yourself enough to survive? I mean, I don't know. It's a weird world. I mean, drugs have been around for a long time. I don't think that's completely the problem. Um, I mean, you look at the 70s and the 80s. I mean, when people were smoking crack is the main thing. Those people were going to work and they were working. At least they were going to work. You get these new people like, unfortunately my parents and my current generation. I mean, my mother didn't have a job for a long time. She always somehow found a way to get high. I mean, she always found a way to get money to do what she had to do. But she wasn't working for it, And my grandfather was very open with me growing up. He did drugs his entire life, but he always provided for his family. But drugs never came before his family. I mean, and when he told me that, it never made sense to me, how people had done drugs in the 70s and 80s and they supported their families, and people started doing drugs and now they don't support their families. And you have orphans, kids like me who have to get emancipated at 16 years old. I mean, it's a strange time, and a lot of people sulk in that. And, well, I do drugs because my parents did drugs. It's like, I don't really think that's an excuse, but, I think it's the lack of, like you say, everyone's so comfortable in this world, especially in America, that they just think they can kind of coast by, and I think the system is failing everybody more now than ever.
I know, at least in part, I've seen it in my own life a little bit. We look for excuses to not take on the
100%.
burden of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
We look for it. Like, oh, he did it, I can do it, or everybody's giving up, I can give up. And it doesn't take much to find an excuse to say, I don't have to
Right.
do it, I give up. And people look for those reasons more than they look for their responsibilities.
Yeah.
And all the pleasure they're seeking is in the responsibility. It's actually an element of the reality of. I'm trying to think of a word. The meaning of life comes from finding that passion and responsibility and fulfilling it to the greatest extent you possibly can. And,
Life is nothing without purpose.
yeah, and people don't realize they're chasing nothing. They're chasing air.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%. And purpose is a weird thing. I mean, really, to be purposeful, you have to be somewhat selfish. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I mean, training strongman. I mean, that takes away a lot of time. I mean, that's time I could be spending with my kids. I mean, don't I spend time with my kids? Obviously, they work out with me and stuff. Um, but you gotta, if you're not a little selfish towards your goals, then you're not gonna really be able to pursue your goals. And like you said, everybody wants to pick on the person who goes to the gym when they're going home and popping a beer, or, oh, I can't do that. I gotta clean my bedroom tonight. It's like, oh, well, you can do that before you go to work in the morning. Just wake up 15 minutes earlier. I mean, everyone's got these weird excuses on why they can't be great and why they can't do stuff. I'm too tired after work. Well, we do the same job, so why is it that you're more tired than I? And I wake up 2 hours earlier than you. You know what I mean? I mean, I got these guys that, why you wake up so early? You're waking up at 3. You don't have to be at work till 6. Well, I don't want to wake up and go to work 15 minutes later. I want to get up, hop in the cold water, get warm, eat breakfast, maybe hit a quick workout before I go to work. I mean, get stuff done, clean the house, do all the dishes. I mean, there's stuff that you can do and there's times that you can do it, but everyone says that they don't have enough time. I don't know where that comes from, especially the people that I know what they're doing and what their job is, and we're working the same hours. I find a way to do it, and I have kids. You don't have kids. Why can't you? Where's the time? Where's the loss of time at? Um, Everybody just wants to feel comfortable, and you don't feel more comfortable than you do when you learn how to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah, that's been a daunting life lesson I'm learning in my 40s, unfortunately. I did construction in my 20s, so I didn't really have to build any character. Everything came pretty easy for me. And then I got that federal job, and I got real cushy, and everything gets real easy real quick, and you forget, and you don't realize, and time goes by, and it was like I had to learn it all over again, basically. Very frustrating.
Yep.
To have to do that twice. But you touched on some really cool stuff, man. That's really important. Purpose is aiming at something, and I think that's where they're losing all their time. If you don't have a focus, you don't have a purpose, you don't have a place to aim, how are you supposed to get there? Of course you're going to waste all your time. You're wandering. You're literally just floating in water with no destination, no captain, no nothing. And of course you're wasting most of your time.
Yeah, I mean, so many people, they'll sit there and they think life is going to work and going home and watching TV, or going home and, well, it's the 4th of July, let's have a cookout. There's a lot more to life than, a couple of holidays and a couple of vacation days. I mean, you just need to learn to find that balance between making a living for your family and going out and doing what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
So many people have passions when they're young that they never follow through with.
And I think those are the regrets of your life, the rest of your life when you get older. Mm-hmm. So it's something I would definitely recommend not doing if you can avoid it. But you also touched on another thing about selfishness. And I think it's the wrong word for what you're talking about. So you're saying, like, I got to follow my passion, so I got to be a little bit selfish. And I guess it is the right word, actually. But I think it needs to be put in a different context. So a knowledgeful, understanding, purposeful person with a little bit of selfishness is actually a healthy thing. So like a child that's selfish, he's playing in kindergarten and he takes a toy and he's like, it's my toy, and your toys are my toys are my toys. Mm-hmm. And in the long run, is that really the better strategy for the child? It's a bad strategy. But if you actually do something with the knowledge of, I want to make everything a little bit better around me. For instance, if you got a son or a daughter and they see you chasing a passion, even though they lost a little bit of your time, they still got other time. There's other time to get you. Mm-hmm. Number one, they'll make sure to get more quality out of that time. And number two, they're going to have so much more respect for you. And they're going to say, wow, look at Dad. Dad has a purpose. You ever hear those stories of women's like her boyfriend's about to leave to deploy to another country, and he's getting his bags ready. She's like, I don't want you to go. If he stays, she's not going to have any respect for him. Even though she doesn't want him to go, seeing that he had a greater purpose that he was willing to die for, that he had a vision that he wanted to see through all the way to the end. People, the ones that love you, the ones that love you, have so much admiration and respect for that person. You don't lose any time. Because I've seen people lose 10 years with a father or a mother and rekindle that relationship and get it all back and like that. Become best friends and just, you can gain that time back so much faster than you really realize. And same thing with you chasing your passion and your kids lose a little sliver of time there. The time you do get on Saturday afternoon, you just, you put a triple cheeseburger in that hamburger, man. It's just a triple. That's all.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
And there's no selfishness in that, and I don't see that as being selfish because a better Matt makes for a better family.
No, 100%, 100%. Yeah, I guess just kind of it depends on how you take that word. Like you said, selfishness is the right word, but it's the wrong word. But yeah, if your kids grow up and they just see dad working all the time and yeah, they'll think of you greatly as a provider and this and that. But if you're not chasing your passion, they're going to know that you always held yourself back. You don't want your kids to grow up like that. You don't want your kids growing up to think that they should just work. They should follow their dreams. I mean, it's more important to me that my kid does something growing up and enjoys his life than just going to work like dad. I mean, well, dad did it, so now I'm going to work. I want you to realize that you need to go out and support your family, but I want you to go out and do something you enjoy doing, and I hope that my kids can find that young and I can help them find that because I didn't have that sort of guidance. I mean, I didn't have any guidance. I was real angry and real confused until my mid-20s, and it took me a long time to get over my trauma as a child and everything. I mean, and if it wasn't for my kids, it may never happen, But, once that kindling got relit, about a year and a half ago, and I started training hard and relit that passion in me, I almost feel unstoppable, man, And I feel like I can understand how to be a father better now that I'm chasing my own dreams. You know what I mean? And I know now how, when my kids get a little older, how I'll be able to teach them how to chase theirs,
Yeah. Actually, it's amazing. This is one of the parts I love about doing this is there's nothing more true than what you're saying there. Man, it's almost like it sandwiches itself on itself. So you're doing your 9 to 5 because it's your responsibility. And instead of coming home and saying, leave me alone, I want to drink my beer, leave me alone, I did my 8 or 10 hours today, leave me alone. You're like, I got a passion. So now a little back of your head, like, when I do get a Saturday off, I really got to spend some time with the kids because I pushed so hard to do all these things. So now your kids see dad's putting more effort in, dad's doing this, dad's doing that, and he spent some time with us, and we were able to get a really condensed version of it, so there was a lot of quality in that fishing trip. There was a lot of quality in going out to that adventure or whatever it was. And you have some more insights to... See, I think what happens, and I think this is what happened to my grandfather and the generations a couple before us. I think what happened was if you allow others around you or yourself to become complacent in general, it weakens who you are as a person. So I was at the grocery store the other day and I give the guy the coupon and I buy the food and I realize that he doesn't put the money in right and I let it go. Because I'm like, I'm not going to let this dude, I'm not going to argue with him and have to have the manager come over. But if I let him be incompetent at his job, it eats away at me a little bit in my incompetence. And if you let someone lie, even though you're not a liar, you become a little bit weaker because you allowed that to occur. And instead of calling the bullshit, and I think that's what happened a couple of generations ago, is they allowed the bullshit to creep in, and they didn't really call it when it happened, and they got a little bit weaker, and it rolled out until it got to a bottom, and you became a strong man, and it came back up again. But it's funny, when you chase a passion and you do more than you normally do, it adds to more. So now you're doing TikToks, so now there's even more stuff that have manifested itself on top of what you do.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that cool, man? Yep. How it doesn't just stay stagnant. If you're really doing something you want and you really do something you're supposed to do, because I think we're that's another thing we're lacking when you stay home and do nothing is you're denying the world a little bit more of what it's supposed to have.
Right. Yeah. You're denying the world of your place in the world where you should have been. And I mean, like you said, I make TikToks. I try to motivate people and, show people, I mean, I'm a normal person, you know, I'm no different than anybody else. And I'm out here doing this. I mean, you can bring genetics into it. Some people have better genetics than other people. Some people are not genetically gifted in certain things. But there are other people out there, and there are plenty of other people that can prove that that's wrong too. I mean, you look at someone like David Goggins, who has all these health issues, and he's the most savage human on the earth. I mean, you look at Tom Stoltman, the world's strongest man, 2 times the last 2 years, and he's got this big story. He was an autistic kid. He had wicked behavioral problems growing up. There's plenty of things out there that can motivate you, but I think the difference between motivation and discipline is a big difference. There are plenty of mornings that I get motivated and still don't want to do shit. I mean, I can sit there and I can keep those motivational videos on repeat. I still don't want to go out there, and you gotta have that. You gotta have that switch. That's okay. It's time to get this done. And the same goes for going to work. I mean, if you go to work and it's okay to not be 100% every day, but if you're not productive 4 or 5 days in a row, I mean, that's a problem. That's a big problem, and, your boss will notice, and it might just be a talking to the first time and a warning the second time. But if it's something that continues to happen, there's a good chance that, you're probably going to get fired, or they're going to cut your hours, or there's so much that can happen. The pain of discipline is a lot better than the pain of regret. That's for sure. And more people need to realize that if they stay disciplined, the rewards are a lot better in the end, and life will go a lot more smoothly.
All right. So where are you from, man? I grew up in Connecticut.
Oh, you were from Connecticut. So you're pretty close. I live in Massachusetts.
What part?
Good old Bay State.
Okay. What part? Because I lived a couple years in Westfield, and my parents had a place in Greenfield.
So I grew up mainly in a town named Wareham, off of Cape Cod.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I like to call that Brockton by the Sea, because it's not the greatest place to live. I just recently moved to Henson in 2021. I bought a house, and it's a big difference, man. Going from a very high drug infested town, a lot of just not nice stuff going on, to rural, 20,000 less people, and I mean, farm country,
Oh, it sounds beautiful. Yeah. Because Cape Cod, that whole area is great. I used to go to a Boston Red Sox game every year, man. I went to about 30 of them, bro. But
oh, that's a lot.
I moved out into the country here. I'm outside of San Antonio. I'm in like a suburb of a suburb out there. And I thought I found Mayberry, but I'll be honest with you, the drugs are coming in. You can't hide from the weird stuff anymore.
You're getting all the people from California. That's what's happening.
Big time. And I got 6 kids, so I was trying to find that Mayberry for us. And we did. Yeah. I mean, it's still better than, because the parts of Connecticut I was in weren't that great, and I didn't have the money to really buy anything.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
Connecticut's an interesting place for sure. Connecticut's an interesting place.
Yeah, because you're either rich or poor, man, and there's a big difference.
Right. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, Connecticut's I've done some work out there in the past. And they say it's one of the wealthiest states in the whole country.
Oh, it certainly
But
is.
when you drive through, it doesn't look that way.
Yeah, don't go through New Britain. Don't go through. Yeah. New Haven, Bridgeport, they're destroyed. It literally looks like someone dropped a bomb and just left it, and everybody just kept on living in it. Yeah, crazy.
No, my goal was growing up, I wanted to move to Alaska. That was my big thing.
Nice. Okay.
And then I had kids, and she didn't want to go to Alaska.
You should have told her, if we have a few more kids, we can make a fortune just on the tax return. Because I think they give you.
I was like, we get paid. We get paid to live out there.
Yeah. And they let you fish and hunt, man. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of places there's no property tax, so you can move to like Fairbanks and you just buy the place and you live there, and we'll find out how we make a living, but we ain't gonna pay property taxes. That's a big part of life,
It's huge because once you pay for it, that means there's nothing over your head except for food and
Oh yeah,
electricity.
yeah, 100%. And even then, it's like, well, get a couple solar panels. It's dark a good amount of the time, however many months up there. But yeah, I mean, you can live pretty well if you're pretty. And I'm a pretty handy guy. I mean, I can do just about anything with my hands. I have a very mechanical mind. I mean, I made 90% of the strongman equipment I had myself. The log and my first couple of Atlas stones, and um, yeah, I've been working on cars for a long time. Up until last year, I finally bought a vehicle because I was sick of working on my cars in the free time.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of doing it too. I'll be honest with you, I'm getting too old to be on my back all the time, and yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's hard to do something like that, work, you know, at least 50 hours a week, and then work out. Got to the point where I was like, well, we're making enough money now. Maybe I'll just buy something I can make payments on that is running, and I might have to work on once every 6 months instead of every 3 weeks. you know,
And my daughter said
because
she was
that's
going to
how
get
it
a
was going.
beater. My daughter the other day said she was going to buy a beater. And I was like, I don't think they have beaters like we had when I was a kid. Because you can
Right?
literally
Yeah.
buy
Right.
a car that drives. It
Yeah.
wasn't going to need work, but $300. You can get a
Yeah.
working
No, not
car.
anymore.
Not anymore. So she's like, whoa, well, what's a beater? I'm like, well, I don't want to work on my car, so I sure as shit don't want to work on your car. So,
Yeah. 100%.
so,
I agree
so
with
I'm
you.
like, for you, I'm gonna say 10 grand is gonna be a beater
Yeah. Oh,
car.
jeez.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Am I
That's
crazy
like.
to say that though? Am I crazy to say that?
Well, you don't want to work on it. I don't blame you. I mean, up until a couple of years ago, up until really 2 years ago, I was buying cars for $1,000 running. My whole thing is every $1,000 you spend on a car, you should get a year out of it. That's my motto. And that was me until last year, and I bought this truck that I'm sitting in now. I was like, I can't. This is getting too tired. Every week fixing a 30-year-old car. And then it'll go good for 6 to 7 months, and then it'll be every day for a month to be fixing something.
Yeah, and that takes away from your passion. It takes away from the kids in a
Hundred
negative, and
percent,
that's a negative way. So now you're
hundred
paying
percent.
to outsource that problem, and I'll be honest with you, I think it's the wiser choice, especially if you have the
Yeah,
luxury of doing it.
it definitely it's not fun paying a car payment every month, but it's like you said, I'm good at working on cars, and there was a time in my life I enjoyed it. And I wasn't enjoying it. A lot of swearing, a lot of throwing tools around. I mean, it got to a point where it's like I just don't want to do this anymore. If I could have brought something brand new, I would have, because then I probably wouldn't have had to touch it for years.
Yeah, with all the warranties that come with a brand spanking new one. I've never owned one brand
Yeah,
new. But my daughter, I remember one time I was doing my brakes and she made dinner and it was starting to get dark and she's like, dinner's ready. And I got real mad at her. I was like, I can either do this now and test the brakes and go around the block in an hour,
yeah,
or we can eat. I can get my belly full, get tired, not want to do this anymore, and have to finish it with a flashlight in my mouth. Which one do you think I want to do?
yeah, yeah.
And,
They
and
don't
she
they don't
got so
understand that one
insulted.
either.
She got so insulted because she's like, I worked hard for the food too. And I was like,
Yeah,
so I'll be honest with you that I let her know I don't want to do that to her car every 3 to 6 months.
yeah. It's not. And then of course it's like, oh, Dad, can you fix my car? It's like,
Yeah, it's
well, I can.
alternator to
That's the thing.
starter. Oh, that's easy.
Yeah,
I remember helping you do the starter last time. It's like, yeah, that's not
yeah,
the
yeah,
point. That's not the point. The
yeah.
point is,
You bought a BMW, now it's an internal starter. It ain't easy, sweetheart.
yeah, I'm
you know?
moving a motor mount. I'm moving a motor mount, and I'm jacking this thing
Yeah.
up 2 inches just to squeeze. Yeah.
Next thing you know, the thing's on a lift, and you're like, how did we get here? Yeah, I've been there before. 8-minute project turns into 8 hours sometimes, and it ain't fun when it happens.
No, and then you're assuming the kids don't have to go anywhere. You assume the house don't need anything, the dog don't, the
Yeah,
backyard. So yeah, I'll be honest with you. If you can outsource at least some stuff so that you can do the other things, I think it's wiser. Not only that, but the stress. Now you don't come home in the house, and everybody can feel the vibe vibrating
yeah,
off
yeah.
you
Stay away
as you
from
try
Dad.
to
Yeah,
degrease your hands, and everybody knows Dad's done.
100%. Yeah, and when you have something like that, you go to work, and all day you're thinking about you got to go home and fix the car. All day. Oh, I got to go home and
Miserable.
fucking
Yeah,
pull the alternator.
miserable.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that's assuming you don't have to go back to the store and get something else that you didn't want to buy.
Always, every time, 6 times, same same store 6 times.
Trying to get
Yeah, I
your
don't miss
core,
those
trying to
days.
get your core back, and you're like, you gotta be kidding me! I gotta
They give
argue
you the
with you
wrong
over.
part. Yeah.
Or this
Oh
ain't
man.
universal. It looks like it's universal, but it's not.
Then all of a sudden your steering wheel's covered in grease. Yeah, I don't miss those days. I'm happy that
Yeah.
very little wrench turning nowadays.
And I'll be honest with you, I was never good at it, to be honest with you. My uncle was really good at it. My dad was okay at it. And I could get away with most, but I wasn't
Yeah.
good. So it didn't even make it, it was never truly fun. Now, it was satisfying when I got it accomplished and I knew I saved $1,000. But it still
Yeah,
was
that's satisfying. It's always when it ends, then you feel satisfied. But when it's happening, you're not satisfied. And you're like, okay, this is, yeah, no. Um, it's one of those things now. It's easier to do than ever. I mean, so much videos and information out there on the internet. But yeah, I'm happy I don't do it anymore. That's for sure.
well, I
Especially living in
still,
New England.
yeah,
A lot
right,
of
yeah.
rust
I don't
repairing
miss
here.
New England. I don't miss New England, man. I don't miss it. Because my
I had to learn how to
parents,
weld because everything was breaking.
yeah, I learned how to spot weld a little bit too. But
Uh,
yeah, I don't miss the snow. But getting back to making the content, what got you started showing everybody what you were doing? What caused you to want to trade over to that? Because when you initially do something, it's almost like a silence. You normally don't tell anybody anything when you start doing something until you.
yeah, that's kind of how it started. So I was recording myself pretty frequently. You know, the thing that's nice about recording yourself when you're working out is you can critique your own form. Especially myself, I work out alone, so there's never anyone with. I don't even think I could find someone to work out with me. Um, everyone would probably be too scared to work out with me because they're like, well, I'd have to find an equal. You know what I mean? I got guys at work that are like, oh, I would like to come work out with you, and I have a couple of friends that, yeah, when I can come get a out with you, and they're like, oh, well, if you're going to be picking up stones, I don't want to be a part of it, but the recording thing, I waited a while. I kind of thought about it, but I'm my biggest critic, and I don't like most people. I don't like when people what's the word I'm thinking of using here? I don't really like negative opinions of people, right? And I'm always worried, even as confident as I am in myself and everything I do, working out, my strength. I don't like when people share negative opinions towards me or they think down upon me or anything like that. So it was actually a big leap for me to stop posting on social media. And I told myself that when I deadlifted 500 pounds, I was going to do my first video. Well, 430, 445, whatever it was, that was good enough, And I was like, all right, we're going to post this because I was proud. And it just kind of kept going, man. It just kept rolling, and I kept posting videos. And now it's almost like I do it all the time, and I don't even think about it. And, some of them get 100 likes, 200 likes. Some of them get 10 likes. And it is what it is. I just like doing it, and it's nice to go and look back at what I did. And yeah, I mean, I've helped a couple people along the way. I've taught people how to do a few things along the way, and that's all that really matters.
I
I
think it's
mean,
awesome. I'll be honest with you. I'm shocked anybody would even talk trash. Just seeing that rock when you went down
yeah,
your backyard. I think you went about 75 feet, turned around, and came back. And
yeah,
it
yeah,
was like
yeah,
almost a
yeah.
200-pound rock. I've been there, man. When those things are in the ground, oh, man. You try to dig around them to get it out. You try to use a pry bar, and you're like,
Oh yeah,
okay, at this point now, I just want to get a chain around this so I can get the truck on this thing because I'm done. And you're over here running around with it, throwing it on the grass. That's some gnarly stuff, man.
yeah. I got one of my the guy that used to own the house, the guy I was telling you about, my old boss from the Highland Games. I bought his house when he retired, and he was telling me about the one I'm carrying. He's like, oh, he goes, that's the light one. So the other day I found the heavy one. I sent him a picture of it. He's like, it's time to take that thing for a walk. And I was like, take it for a walk? I was like, I can't even break the fucking thing off the ground. I was like, this thing's got to be 350 pounds. But I mean, this is a guy that went to Iceland and carried the Husaville stone around the pin. I mean, he was a strong, strong guy. And someday I'll be there, but another 2 or 3 years, I think.
Well, you gotta frame out some kind of perch you can put the rock on. So when you do get brave, It's not one of those things where
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
picking it straight up off the grass. Because
I thought
that
about
in and of
doing that the
itself,
other day. Yeah.
yeah. Because once you get it on something that you could kind of, not to turn it into like a rock that would be on someone's ring, but some kind of perch where it could sit where you could get a better grip of it.
Yep.
Something. There's got to
Yep.
be a way. There's got to be a way.
Yeah, you can do that. What we use in the competition is called the Husavell stone, but it's really it's this metal contraption that they slip weights into to make heavier. And that's what I'm going to be using in competition. So it will actually be up a little higher. So it'll be the weight. It should be pretty easy for me at least. I'm hoping I win that event because it's a 230-pound Husavell stone, and I do a 230-pound Atlas stone for reps onto a platform. So getting that up should be pretty easy for me. Um, I'm aiming for about 200 feet with that. But like you're saying, it's up a little higher than the stone that I have because I'm using a natural stone, so it's smaller and lower to the ground. So I thought about bringing the big rock and perching it up on like a cinder block or something. So, another 8 inches off the ground. But I don't know, man. I go over there. That thing's daunting. I just kind of pick it up a little bit and I can kind of get it off the ground an inch and then I drop it. I'm like, it's got to be over 300 pounds easy. It's a big rock.
On that note, Mark, you got to tell me, what's your stats, man? How tall are you? How much do you weigh? How much can you
So
bench?
I'm about 6 feet right now. This morning I was 231. Um, I'm actually a little weaker than I was. So in February I got sick. I was sick for 2.5 weeks, like really bad. I went from 245 to 220 in the course of 2 weeks. I lost a lot of weight.
Wow, man.
And
What?
yeah, I was sick. I was just shitting every day. I mean, and I couldn't work. I didn't work. I took a whole week off because I was too sick to go in. I went in for 3 days the next week, and then I was out again. It came back, and I couldn't work. Wasn't COVID. I had COVID twice, and I was way sicker than I was when I had COVID the 2 times. And my strength got sapped a lot. Mainly my deadlift got sapped a lot. I don't know if it's just from losing all that weight because weight. A lot of people like to use the weight pulls weight. It's not really. It's muscle mass pulls mass. But yeah, I don't know. It worked out kind of because I'm competing at 231 and a half. So basically like the 105 class, 105 kilo class. So it worked out in that sense where I've been able to maintain my weight so I don't have to cut weight going into the comp because I've never cut weight before. So I didn't know how that was going to go. So yeah, in February, I was benching about 345. I could do 345 for two. I can do 315 for one barely right now. I lost. So there's a couple of things I lost a lot of strength on. It was kind of strange how it works, but I've gotten back to hopefully where we should have a good contest next weekend. Not this weekend coming up, but next weekend.
Oh, that's super cool,
Yeah.
man. That's super cool. Yeah, wow. I can't believe, man, you must have been sicker than a dog. I couldn't
Oh, dude, it
imagine.
was
20 pounds is no joke, man. And all that energy.
no.
It may
And I
take you
only
a few
worked out
months.
once. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I only worked out once in that 2 week span, and
Were you pissed?
when I
Were
had
you
come
like?
back,
Were you real frustrated that you just couldn't do anything?
it was bad, especially where I wasn't able to work. And then again in March, I got sick for like 3 days. There was a bug that went through my house, and I got up to 230, and I went back down to like 225. And my kids were puking, I was puking, my wife was puking.
Yeah.
It was like a 2 or 3 day sickness, and then I came back and I was fine. And I've been great since. I feel physically pretty well right now. But yeah, man, it's kind of crazy how you get kids and they start going to school and you get sick all the time.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. I told you I got six
Yeah.
kids, so we've had that go through. What was it like two? I'm gonna say like 2 years ago, where it happened like 3 or 4 times in like 4 months. So it was
Yeah.
just nonstop sick. It just I don't know what it was, but one person would bring home a stomach bug, and then 2 weeks later, after it went through the whole family, someone would bring one of those like shit all the time bugs. And I'm like, this is miserable. You're killing me,
Oh, it's
guys.
awful.
I don't know why this is happening. And then we were good. We've been good for a couple years now, so we're probably due for something terrible.
Once the immune system builds up, yeah. Yeah, I had growing up, I was never really sick. Like I said, until my oldest started kindergarten this year, we were doing pretty good. Now we're sick all the time, man.
Yeah, the
I
younger
hate it.
ones. Yeah, it's the
But
younger ones. Yeah.
Yeah, but I hopefully once his immune system. But then my other, I have a 4-year-old. He starts kindergarten next year. I was like, what are we gonna deal with this
Yeah,
the
never.
second year in
You
a
gotta do
row?
this again. Yeah, you gotta do this again.
Oh, I
Uh,
was like, I'm gonna stay away during the school year.
so how many kids
I'll
you
sleep
got,
at
man?
work.
How many kids?
I got two. I got two boys. They're 18 months apart.
You
Yeah,
son of a
I got
gun,
a
man.
6-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Congratulations. That's awesome,
I
man.
wish they were spread out a little bit more because every night's like Monday Night Raw in my house. They're
Yeah.
angels when they're apart, but as soon as they're together, as soon as my oldest gets home from school, it's like fist fights and broken, broken TVs. And my
Uh,
youngest broke two TVs in the course of 6 months. I was like, oh my god, yeah, it's but you gotta love them, man. They're crazy.
yeah, it's a blast, man. Kids are a blast. Yeah, it took me 6 tries to get a boy, so I'll be honest with you, I'm jealous, man. I always wanted to have a couple guys, and
No more, no more for me. That's for sure.
it
She
is what it
wants
is.
one more, and if it happens, it happens. But I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, because you got to start from scratch. My dude,
Yeah.
my youngest is going to be 7, so I've been out of diapers for a long time. I couldn't imagine doing that again.
Well, that's what I said. I'm like, we just got out of diapers. I was like, you really want to go back to that? I was like, I don't know. But I don't
Throwing
know.
food in the kitchen, and oh
Waking
man,
up at 3 a.m. to feed him a bottle.
yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds. Yeah, I don't want to ever.
you know. No, and she's the breadwinner now, so I would have to be the stay-at-home dad for that time period. I'm not looking for it now.
No, that's
We'll
even
keep it the
harder.
way
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
even harder. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll keep it the way it is. I like working. I mean, maybe not while I'm doing it, but gives you a sense of purpose going out and making money.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Um, yeah, it's yeah, no more kids for me.
But I think family makes it even more worth it because I'm looking at a lot of single people that have never had kids, and I got a couple
Yeah,
cousins, and I don't know how this would play out when you're in your 50s and there's no one to hang out with. It gets pretty lonely pretty quick, man.
yeah,
Yeah, I can't. I
yeah. I
couldn't.
don't know. I'm a loner. I like being alone. I enjoy my alone time. But yeah, I don't know what I would do if my kids were in the house. Anytime I'm at home and both kids aren't there, and you get that quietness, it's a strange feeling.
It's
You
weird.
enjoy it for the first 15, 20 minutes, and then you're like, all right. I see what every old person's talking about when they talk about. You'll realize it when the kids are gone.
Oh, no, yeah, I was just gonna
Um,
say now that I think that's what it's really escalates the uncomfortableness of it is when no one's coming. Whereas
yeah, yeah,
me and you,
100%.
we know eventually the chaos is coming back.
Yeah,
Whether it's
yeah.
2 hours, 8 hours, even if it's another day, I know that
Yeah,
it's coming back. But if you're 70 years old, you're like, well, guess what? Well, what I'm going to do tomorrow? Nothing.
yeah.
It's going
You
to be the
better have a
same.
dog. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I think we're more connected than we realize, and I think we were designed to be a community as much as we can, and
Right.
we shouldn't leave those people hanging, man. We should do more to try to. I think it's healthy for the young kids to do something too. So I've been looking at that, and I think maybe I'm going to get my kids to help with something because my parents are too far away to kind of do anything for them. There's got to be something. I think it's just a healthy thing for young people to see the different generations taking care of each other kind of scenario, and how
Oh,
life is more
100%.
reciprocal than we realize.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, without family, man, I don't know. It's kind of I don't know how anyone does it. I mean, like I said, I know a couple of people who live alone, and it seems very dull, man. I
Well,
mean,
not only
you
that,
know,
but your wife or your girlfriend or your kids, they kind of sharpen you. And they call you on your
yeah.
bullshit differently than any friend would. They call you on your
Oh,
bullshit
100%.
differently than someone at work. And they force you not to get weird. Whereas a dude
Yeah.
alone or a woman alone for a long time, we make fun of a girl and call her a crazy cat lady. But there's a lot of reality to that. You're alone for a
Oh,
long time,
100%.
and you're allowed to be as weird as you want. You get Michael Jackson real quick, man. You do weird shit, just weird.
Yeah, you
You
don't
don't
want to be
realize how
around
weird
people
you are.
alone.
You don't realize how weird you
Yeah,
are.
you think you're normal, but people are like, yeah, maybe you should find somebody, get on Tinder or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
Go
know.
adopt a real kid. Stop adopting cats. You get enough of those. Yeah, it's when your friend comes over and they start smelling like cat piss a little too much. You're like, yeah, you okay? yeah, the kids having a family, like you said, it really sharpens you. You know, I still go out and spend a lot of time by myself. You know, I go out and I do a lot of fishing by myself. Um, because I do feel like I need that time alone and the quiet by myself. But at the end of the day, you still got to go home to your family, man. I don't think that you really know like what hardship is and what working towards something is unless you're providing for someone. Um, I mean, I think as a man, you just built to provide. I mean, me and you, that's just what we're here to do. We're here to provide for our family and have your purpose besides that. But I mean, in the end of the day, that's my main thing is providing for my family. Um, I would never picture putting myself in a situation, and I know it happens. Anything can happen, but no matter what, I will always make sure that there's something like a roof over my kid's head. You know, I don't give a fuck if I got to work 6 jobs at once. I mean, it's gonna happen, and having that kind of drive and passion towards something, um, it really creates, you know, something in your mind where it makes you a little bit more edged on than someone who doesn't have that at home. You know what I mean?
It's
Um,
a true element of maturity.
yeah, yeah, that's exactly how it is. I got guys. I mean, I got one guy I work with who's in his 40s and he rents out someone's basement. You know, it's not a finished basement; it's just a basement. And this guy makes just as much money as I do, and I have a mortgage.
I
And I
bet you he's
asked
got
him,
like an
I'm like,
$8,000 computer that he plays video games on. And
no, he doesn't. He sits there and he watches cold case. If you're listening, I'm sorry. He goes out and he just watches cold case files all night until 3 a.m. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like,
that is
well,
weird
where's
as
all your
shit. That's some woman shit right
yeah?
there. That is
And I'm
so
like, well,
weird.
where's all your money? He's like, I was like, you gotta have money put away, right? Like you're not spending it
Tons of
on a
money, like
mortgage like
tons of
I
money
am.
on in the stock
He got no
market.
money.
Really?
What is he
So
doing?
I don't know.
Going to the flea market every Sunday. That's what he's doing.
Filling up that
Uh,
basement.
it's not even his. I don't know, man. And it's an old lady. I'm like, well, when she passes away, what are you gonna do? I mean, I don't know, man. It's
It's a
it's
weird
it's
world, like you said
strange.
earlier. It's
It's
strange. People are
strange, man.
crazy, man.
Yeah,
Ah,
and if some people they're content like that, and they get so content where they are, and they start ordering food every night, and they don't have to clean dishes, and they do their laundry once a week, and they get this routine going, and it's like, well, why would I change? I feel comfortable like this. It's like, but deep down inside, they're not comfortable. Deep
I'll,
down inside, I live in someone's basement. You know what I mean? Like, what am I? I'm 40 years old. What am I doing in my life? I live in someone's basement. It's like, well, yeah, that's the reality of it, man. And then by the time they're 50, it's like, good luck getting a mortgage on a house when you're in your 50s.
yeah.
Especially nowadays, it ain't cheap.
No. So I'll
You
be
know,
honest with you. I agree with you. There's got to be an element of like bitterness or some kind of like something eating away
there's
at you.
something somewhere. There's
So
something
my
somewhere
question to
for
you is,
sure.
man, you look at the school shooting and stuff, and these kids that have no purpose, they have no drive, um, they're sold a lie, and they kind of put that lie on themselves, and then they're like, you know what, I'm gonna fix all the wrongs that have been wrong to me and all this stuff. What if we get into a society where things ain't comfortable anymore? What if the dollar's not worth anything? What if food gets out of
We're
control?
close.
You know what I'm saying?
Where
I'm,
we
I'm
I
just I'm,
mean,
not, I'm just playing a what if for right now. But what if those things
yeah,
do come true? Because it's not like it's preposterous. There is an
it's
element of
not.
reality in that. What if everybody in a basement, everybody playing video games, everybody that's believing these preposterous lies, they get frustrated and all that, and they don't have that easy the rinse and repeat that they're playing. Well, what happens when a whole society is like that and we get into tough times? What happens?
I would imagine we will get invaded, honestly. But yeah, no, it's not far off, man. I mean, we're living in a time where depression is at an all-time high, and the dollar just seems to mean less and less, and people think of the dollar less and less. I mean, like we talked about earlier, people don't want to work anymore, um, and the dollar just doesn't seem to go as far as it used to go. And now we have this whole whatever's going on. I'm not getting into the politics of it, but these school shootings and these people who aren't comfortable being themselves. Um, I don't know, man. It's a strange world that we live in, and it's a strange world where people think getting rid of our only means of protecting ourselves is the right choice for what's going on.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say that, man, because that's not the solution to the
You
problem.
know,
You got a young man lying to himself, and he gets bitter
yeah,
that it doesn't work out. So you think about this, right? He's sitting home, and he's like, everybody on social media is telling me how amazing this is, but he has to leave that computer or his phone once in a while, look up and see the grass and everybody working and everybody living their lives, and he realizes everybody out there isn't gonna pat you on the back like they do on social media. So now he's like,
no,
man, I'm living
no,
this lie, and it's not playing out the way I was promised. And he's all pissed. I'll be honest with you. When you're lying to yourself, which you always do first, before you lie to other people, you always lie to yourself.
right, right,
You're not living the purpose life you're supposed to live. You're living some kind of deceitful version of your life. You're not even on your adventure. You're on some other adventure. You're on, actually, deceitfulness is having the adventure of your life. Now,
right.
how bitter can you get on that one? It's not even your adventure. And you're trying to deceive yourself into believing that it is your adventure, but it's not your adventure. So I'll be honest with you, you can take away all the guns. They're just going to run over 60 people with a car or make some bomb out of a pressure cooker. They're going to find a way
Oh,
to
100%.
retaliate back on everybody when they realize that these lies aren't going to play out for my better. And like I said, that's in a comfortable situation right now. What if things got 40% less comfortable? Not saying you couldn't. I'm not saying me and you couldn't buy eggs at $10 a carton, but I'm just saying all of a sudden
I ain't buying eggs.
well, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, though. But all those guys that don't want to work, all of a sudden it's not comfortable. It's just not comfortable to live in a tent. It's not comfortable to live in a basement. It's just not what happens? I think we're setting ourselves up for failure, to be honest with you, man.
Yeah, 100%. And like you're saying, I mean, getting rid of the guns, I don't think is the key all. I mean, there's so much more ways that this drama could unfold and these people could get their message across. I mean, than taking firearms from people who are legally owning them, you know. And I also don't think that will go very well, you know. I mean, you ain't taking my guns.
Yeah, and you're not taking them from you're not taking them from Texas either. And I'll be honest with you, if you want to prove that you could solve this problem by taking my guns, prove to me you could solve the drug problem by taking the drugs off the streets. Fix that one first. Fix that one first. Let's start at kindergarten.
Pumping the drugs in.
Yeah. Let's start at kindergarten and we'll work our way to middle school with the guns. Show me that you can stop the drugs from coming in, and then we'll talk about the guns.
I think it's very strange, especially where Canada just passed that thing where they're not selling handguns anymore.
Yeah.
People aren't allowed to buy handguns anymore. I think in a couple of years, there's going to be a lot of resistance to that in Canada. I think they're going to see a lot of resistance to something like that. And you got a lot of these people around here who think that we're going to go the same route. Americans are much different, and it's not the solution.
No, it's not.
I don't know what's pushing these kids to go into schools and shoot the schools up.
I think it's believing in a lie. I think it's believing in a lie, realizing all of a sudden you wake up one day and you say, man, this isn't working out. And I'll be honest with you, the reason why the governments are doing what they're doing with the guns is they want a monopoly on violence.
Mm-hmm.
They want a monopoly on it.
Oh, I mean, you can see that with the riots that went on during the last election. I mean, they were just letting it happen. It was very easy to stop what was going on, and they just continued to let everything get destroyed. And you noticed a lot, with these movements that were going on, like Black Lives Matter movements, where the people who were in charge are buying mansions and all the money's disappearing for all these great things that they were going to spend money on, You always got someone at the top who's greedy, who's going to cash in on mental health, just anything, really. I mean, there's someone that's going to profit off of any situation that occurs. Unfortunately, it's what happens. I mean,
well, there was a solution for that. There was a solution. The Great Depressions would weed out all the bad actors. So if you had a bad company or you were deceitful in your company and you were Burger King, McDonald's would beat you and your company would fail and McDonald's would get bigger.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And that happened every 60 years where a bunch of bad actors would lose their businesses and the guys with the morality, the guys with the good work ethic, the guys that provided the best service, they survived.
Yeah.
And every 60 years, everybody got tested, corporation-wise, millionaire-wise, and now we've handicapped the corporations to the point where when there's a problem, the bad ideas don't die. They get reimbursed for their bad ideas.
Right.
That's a
Right.
humongous mistake. It's no longer capitalism at that point. It's a whole nother animal. And I think that's fueling the fire for all this to escalate the way it's going, because bad ideas are supposed to die. In a free market society, they're supposed to die, so we don't. And
Right.
we're choosing the
100%.
latter. We're choosing the latter, unfortunately.
And you see this stuff happen every so many years. I just think it's weird the way it's happening now. I mean, there's that old saying that hard times create hard men, soft times create soft men. We're kind of in that time where the soft men are being formed, and even the soft women. But the way it's happening is just very strange to me.
Well,
I think everyone now is too involved in their own opinion of themselves, and the whole thing going on with the LGBT community. I don't think it's that. I mean, I don't give a fuck what you do. You know what I mean? You want
Well,
to
I
cut
don't
your
want you
dick
to lie
off.
to yourself, because if you lie and I let you lie, now I
Yeah.
become a weaker person. So I
Right,
want
yeah.
you to call apples apples and oranges oranges. So on that
Exactly.
aspect, I do. It does matter to me. But I'll be honest with you. I don't know, man. Matt, I don't know.
No, it's a weird. It's weird that we have kids growing up in this world. I mean, um, it's like you're saying. I mean, I don't like when people lie about what they are and who they are as a person. But nobody cares if Phoebe likes Fiona. You know what I mean?
No, no one cares,
But
man.
why do you have to push that narrative so hard? For
Well,
years nobody's cared about this,
yes.
and now it's the main. It's the
only
main thing.
it's the only thing that matters. Whether we eat doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Whether we have a home doesn't matter. The
No.
only thing that matters is, are you a cat or are you not a cat, or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever we're
And
going to talk about.
this last school shooting was a big example of that, where this was a member of the LGBT community, and they didn't even care. The narrative wasn't these kids that just got shot. It was, well, our hearts are with the LGBT community. But that was the person who went in there and gunned down these kids. I mean,
Yeah.
and instead of being with these children, why are we bringing it back to that when we have families in grief right now?
Yeah.
But that's the narrative, and they're going to push that narrative, and
And don't think that it's a mistake. This is very important. People don't realize this.
No,
when everybody has this
very on
conversation,
purpose.
when everybody has this conversation, oh, they don't know what they're doing. They don't understand what they're doing. They're lawyers. 90% of your politicians pass the bar exam. They're not stupid.
They know exactly
they're not
what
stupid.
they're doing.
They're not making mistakes. None of it is a mistake. Not even a little bit of a mistake.
Right.
Everything that we're watching unfold is unfolding on purpose with intention.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
So think about you as a micro person. When you have an intention and you have a goal and you're aiming at something, you could see the end. You could see why you're doing what you do. So don't think that they can see exactly what they're doing and the end result.
Yeah, 100%. They have a plan, and they have another plan. I mean, if that plan doesn't go through, 15 years from now when everything changes, well, we didn't do that. That wasn't what we were trying to do. Us smart people know what's going on. Or no, I can't even say us, the smart people, just the people who are aware of the situation and their surroundings. I don't think that people are as gullible as politicians in the government think we are. I don't know. I know they're not that gullible, that's for sure. I mean, the whole narrative of taking the guns and stuff, I think the government knows that's impossible. I think they know they would be met with too much resistance, rather. And our military isn't Korea or China. They're not just going to follow orders. I mean, they're very independently minded people who have the same beliefs that we do. And who knows? Maybe one day we will see a collapse of the infrastructure of the government. maybe the next president will kind of shift things back the way they were a few years ago. I don't think either one of those things is going to happen. I think it's going to kind of be a medium thing that's going to happen. Um, but at the end of the day, you can only let it bother you so much. I
Yeah.
mean,
I
you can
stopped
only live
watching the
for what.
news a couple of years ago, man, because it's just
Yeah,
too
yeah.
overwhelming.
It's too much. Yeah, you can only deal with what you deal with, and each day is a new day. If you're going to think about, well, obviously I care about what's going to happen in the future, but you got to live for the moment because it's too scary to think about, what you're going to have to do in 15 years from now.
Yeah. And you
You're
get
going to have
older.
that.
Well, what is it?
Yeah,
Conflict avoided is conflict amplified.
yeah,
So
yeah. That's
basically, if you don't
also
deal
very
with
true.
what you're dealing with now, you're just going to deal with a bigger dragon later. Instead of a
No,
baby
and I
dragon, it's
100%
going to
agree
be,
with you.
yeah.
I'm a very straightforward and blunt person. Um, and so a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people don't like confrontation. I don't know, it's probably because of the way I grew up. I love confrontation. I'm that guy. If I see two people arguing, I have to be part of that argument. I mean, it's just, I don't know what it is. I don't like that I'm this way, but if two people at work are arguing, I'm right in that argument, and I'm antagonizing them, escalating the situation almost. Um, and people don't like that. I mean, you know how people are when you're in the workplace. Oh, so and so did this, you know. Well, as soon as I find out I'm so and so, I'm going to whoever said I was so and so. It's like, what did I do yesterday? You know, and people don't like that. And when you are that kind of way, when you're confrontational, you're not in confrontation that much. People don't want to deal with that. And I think a lot more people need to be that way. I mean, it's
Well,
a real way to
you
be.
gotta be strong enough to tell the truth and not put up with other people's
Yeah.
bullshit to get to that point. It's not an easy task. Most
No.
people capitulate at just letting other people's bullshit get overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then they don't even
Mm-hmm.
become the person they're supposed to become. Mark, this is a great conversation, man.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Zoom doesn't want us to keep up with this
Well,
conversation. It's interesting.
they know what they're doing with that 45 minutes, man, because they're gonna make me buy the full version.
Uh,
Yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on today, and I'm over an hour now. I could do this all day, but I got other shit I gotta do, man.
yeah, me too. I got you. Yeah. Yeah. I got some trout to try to hook, so we'll see what happens out here.
Nice. Okay, that's cool, man. I missed that. There's not a whole lot of trout out here. They do throw some in the river, but
They probably don't last long. It's very warm out there. Yeah.
yeah, they throw them out in the wintertime. They last for a little bit and they're done. It's all just like for fun. It's not the same, man.
Yeah.
I used to
That's
be
what
able to
it is.
get rainbow
Yeah.
trout up in the mountains, and those things were native. There's some native trout out there.
Yeah.
It's
There's a
not
couple
stock.
spots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, I appreciate you having me on, and it was real. I appreciate the conversation we had.
Absolutely, man. So on that note, let's finish up. So where do you see this going? You got a competition coming up soon. Are you going to keep doing the TikToks? Are you going to do any more?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna keep up with TikTok probably until I get bored. I mean, who knows? Maybe someday I'll be famous. I don't know. It only takes one video to blow up. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm gonna keep doing the TikToks. I'm hoping to see where I'm at in this comp coming up in August 22nd at Clash of the Titans. This is my first comp, so I'm competing in novice. As of right now, when I look at the open weights, they're fucking heavy, man. They're real heavy. I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. My goal is to compete at heavyweight, but even those weights at novice are a little heavy. So I plan on doing two or three novice shows and going to the opens and seeing how it goes. Just to see how the body holds up and if I can compete with these big boys. I mean, the issue with this sport, with strongman, is it's a very performance enhancing based sport. There's a lot of people who are on gear, and I'm not on gear, at least not yet. So we'll see how how strong these people really are.
Yeah, that's scary because that's no joke, man. You start using those steroids, man, your body gets jacked and you just become a machine.
It gets beat up. Yeah.
Now,
At least now there's stuff like. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, one of my thoughts was, are you worried about your lower back? I know that's something that goes eventually.
Oh yeah, my lower back's wicked fucked up. I got in a car accident when I was 19 on the Bourne Bridge. I was the last person in death dead stop traffic, and some old guy hit me going about 75, and it broke my seat in my Ford Ranger. And me and my brother's heads both went out the back window, and my lower back was real fucked up. And so I'm always and I do tweak my lower back quite often. I got to work a lot on my core strength, but I feel like the stronger my core gets, the less my back is affected. So breathing and bracing, you just got to keep breathing and bracing, and hopefully one day my lower back will be better than it is now. Because yeah, man, there are a couple of days where I'm like, we might have to take a day off because I can barely stand up.
Well, that's scary. That's scary. Well, you're still in your 20s, right?
Yeah, 28. I'll be 29 in June. So
I would love to go back. Oh, you're born in June? I was born in June, June 22nd.
Oh, that's my son's birthday. That's that's funny. That's my youngest birthday.
Yeah, my son's June 12th. I told him you got to wait 10 more days. We can add International Regan Day.
That's a good one. No, my youngest was actually due on my birthday, but they pushed him back. He was in the oven a little too long. He was 10.5 pounds when he came out. He was a big boy.
Oh, man. She worked for that one. Holy shit.
Yeah, luckily she didn't have to push him out. Oh, that would have.
Yeah, 10 pounds.
Yeah, that would have been terrible. 10 pounds, that's a big baby. The doctor's like, he's got a big head. I was like, well, you don't remember when you lived with his brother? No, he's got a bigger head. And then after she had him and I brought our oldest in to visit, he's like, maybe his head was bigger. Yeah, but no, hopefully I stay healthy and we can keep competing. And my main goal in this is I just want to be the strongest person I know. So I have a couple goals. I want to pull 300 kilos, which is like 660-ish pounds on a deadlift. I'd like to squat 500 pounds, and I would love to overhead press 400 pounds, but I'll settle for 350.
350. Yeah, man, I couldn't do
I'll
any
settle
of
for
that.
350.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm still pretty far off, but dedication and moving forward, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's awesome, Mark. Again, I appreciate everything. I appreciate the conversation. I hope you catch at least 5 fish, man, and you have a great weekend or a great rest of your week.